And Joe, in which war did you serve?
In the Korean War.
And what branch of the service were you in?
I was in the infantry service.
In the U.S. Army?
U.S. Army. Yes, sir.
What was your highest rank?
That was a staff sergeant. It's right here on the hat.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you get into that Korean War? Were you drafted or did you enlist?
No, I was drafted.
You were drafted?
Yes.
Do you remember where you were living at the time?
Puerto Rico. You know, the law says in those days that when you are 18 years old, you have to subscribe yourself to the military. So you put your name down there, your address, and so, and if they need you, they call you. And that's what happened to me.
And they called you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall what year and month that was?
That was like 1951. Mm-hmm.
And I think you told me, were you in college at the time?
Yeah, I was in my second year. Yeah.
Once they called you and they drafted you, where did you go for your basic training?
When I was drafted, we went to Camp Buchanan. Okay, in Camp Buchanan, they do all the paperwork. And all those things, they give you the uniforms and the rifle and everything you need for the training. And then they transfer us to Camp Tortuguero. And then we start the basic training down there. Was like a replica of a war camp. You was in the war, you have to have your tents and all those things, a replica of a war camp. And after that, we have different camps in Puerto Rico that you go for several sections of the training that is more or less you need that kind of environment. For example, Salinas for the overhead fire training. And in Tortuguero, we have a lot of training down there, just target shooting and all those things, you know. They have one that you have to crawl under the wires, and then they have machine guns down there. And the bullet goes, a live bullet goes on top of you. If you raise your head, it was very dangerous. You know, you have to go just close to the ground.
So they used live ammunition during the basic training?
Yes.
Wow. Now I know that you were a member of the famous Burincaneer, the 65th Infantry Unit. When you were drafted, were you put right in the Burincaneer unit? Was it all Puerto Rican unit?
No, the idea was when you finish the training, 13 weeks training, after those 13 weeks that you pass the training, they give you some time off. You go to your family and you stay with them, you spend time with them. And then you come back. And when you come back, you go right directly into the ship. When they ship us to overseas, I remember the name of the ship. The ship was Sergeant Woodford. That was the name of the ship. We were...
Woodford?
Woodford. I think it's W-O-O and F-O-R-D, Woodford. And I remember that we were around a group of 263 or 64 men. Okay, all men that jump into that ship and let's go.
And all Puerto Rican men?
All Puerto Rican with some higher officers, from captains and first lieutenants and those things, American from here, English-speaking people, okay?
Did the officers speak Spanish also?
A little bit. Most of them a little bit, some of them, they speak fluent Spanish. They are, I believe that the army never have the confidence that the Puerto Ricans can do things by themselves. They need some guidance. That's what they believe. We show them the contrary, in Korea and in the Second World War. But due to the fact that we are young men, you know how the young men are. We are full of energy and a little bit disorganized, okay, despite what they teach us to do. So we have the people down there with the military experience to tell us what to do, and we have to obey them. And those were the rules. You never disobey a high-ranking officer. Okay? So we have the officer that goes in the ship. They were not too tough. They were good people. But they tried to keep the order and the organization and the moral of the troop as high as possible. That was the idea.
Joe, did you speak English?
I'm trying. What do you think?
At that time.
Oh, and those, no, not too much English. In Puerto Rico was how can I say this? In school, we are a possession of the United States. We are a colony. We speak Spanish because the Spaniard, came there first. But we are supposed to speak English. Doesn't matter, our first language is Spanish. But most of the Puerto Ricans, especially the well-educated, they speak fluent English. In school, you start school with all the subjects and everything is in English. Everything is in English. And you have to, and you get familiar with the sound of the language. It's very important, the sound of the language, so that you can speak it fluently. I have difficulty sometimes with the accent with other people. Other people speak in different kind of ways, and sometimes too fast or whatever, and I cannot catch it. But communicating, for example, with you, I can communicate, we can have a conversation, and we can talk, and I can answer questions. And on those days, I did not know very much, but I learned. I got to learn. Otherwise, I cannot go forward.
Because your officers that were English speaking, did they give orders in English or Spanish?
No, absolutely. Yeah, they give orders in English. But always they have a translator. A sergeant or, some people that can, bilingual people, that if the group of soldiers that have a mission, they are going to send them to do something up there, and they have the orders from the English-speaking officer. This guy, the translator, explained to them in Spanish. And then they were sure that they understood the orders and they can comply with them. Yeah.
What was so you went on the ship with the 260-something other Buccaneers. Where did you go? Where did you land?
I think that the route was Cuba. We went to the Guantanamo base in Cuba, and we stayed there just maybe less than 24 hours. And after Cuba, we went to Panama. We went through the Panama Canal. And it was very interesting because I never went down there, and I saw that ship that goes down and go to the other section of the canal and goes down, so to level the two seas, the two. And after that, we went to Hawaii. We don't stay too long in Hawaii. In Panama, I think we stay a couple of days. But in Hawaii, I don't know how long we stay, not too much. Hawaii is a lot of islands. You have too many islands around. Where we went, I don't remember. Really, I don't. We don't even leave the ship. We stay in the ship. After that, Japan.
And you got off the boat in Japan?
we get out of the boat. We are going to stay in Japan. I think that the orders was to stay in Japan until further orders. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What were your duties in Japan?
Well, in Japan, we try to have a little bit more training. Mm-hmm. We get familiar with the way that the Oriental people, the Asiatic people, they act, how they are, the way they fight. You try to distinguish one from the other because they look alike. You know, you never know in Korea that was the problem in Vietnam too. That you have a person beside you from there, a typical person from that country, and you don't know if that was a friendly person or an enemy because they look alike, you know. And they are very, very smart. Very smart, especially with the languages. They are they catch it very easy. So they teach all certain characteristics of the Oriental people, the Asian people, how they are, what they eat, how they act, all those things. In just a few weeks we stayed down there in the camp, in Japan. Yeah.
And when did you arrive in Japan? Was this in the winter of 1951?
Close to the winter, because I remember the snowstorms down there in Korea, the cold weather, and all those things we are not used to, because we come from a tropical country. You know, in Puerto Rico is the whole year round is 75, 80, 85, 90. You know.
Must have been tough adjusting your body
yes.
To that.
That is why they are recognizing the Puerto Ricans as people that can adapt to any kind of environment. You never know. Puerto Ricans are like that, you know. And, you know, was cold, was really, really, really cold, but, you know, we go, let's go. We go to the front. We were together on that. But, you know, we have certain equipment down there that carbon stoves to keep us warm. Every time we can camp, and we have the tents and whichever place we used to sleep, you know, with a little bit heat. They have bunkers too.
When you left Japan to go to Korea, did you go as your whole unit?
They sent a group of us. How many? I think that they sent us in two steps. One group first and the second group after that. The thing is that they sent all of us to Korea. Not at the same time, but close, yeah.
And where did you go in Korea?
We went to Busan. That's the entrance to the country, especially to South Korea, the port of Busan.
How long did you stay in Busan?
Not long, just maybe a couple of days.
And then where did they send you?
Then we jump into a train, not exactly a luxurious train, you know. And then that train took us all the way where the hot thing down there was going on, the battles and the people, you know. And then they have a camp up there, and then we stay there, and they prepare us and divided us, organizing the group on the different companies, on the different platoons, companies, etc., etc., etc.
Which one did you get assigned to?
I was in Company F, 3rd Battalion, in Company F. Company F, I think I was in the third platoon. Yeah. I was going to be on the front with a rifle. The same rifle I have in the training, we took it to Korea. The same rifle.
You knew you were going to be in combat in the front lines fighting. What was going through your mind? How did you feel about that?
Oh my God, I don't want to think about it. I want to forget about it. But here, they start revolving again those days, and you have to come back. And maybe I had a very bad time down there. And when I came back to my house in Puerto Rico, I have dreams. I have dreams. I have bad dreams. I don't know how to say pesadillas in English. It's like a bad dream. And
nightmares.
Nightmares, right. That's the way it is, nightmares. And those are very, they are not very nice to have those things.
No, yeah. And a lot of soldiers experiencing PTSD have those bad dreams.
Yeah. You have a lot of bad experience in combat, not only in Korea. All over, anytime you have a war, you have a bunch of bodies down there, and you see people dead. You go in one of those caravans of trucks and those military caravans, and the caravans stop, and then they say, okay, you have 10 minutes to eat. Then we have to open the ration boxes and those things, what the soldiers eat. And you look right to your side and you see a body down there. A dead body down there, another dead body down there. So, such a thing like that. If you have to take water and you fill your canteen from the river, the water, just a few steps or whatever feet, all on, the water is coming down. But over there, you are going to find a corpse. People dead inside the river. Those experiences are really bad. Doesn't matter, you don't kill anybody and you don't have to fight in front of anybody, but those bad experiences, you have to go through that. Yeah.
When you got to Busan and they sent you up to that camp, then where did you go? Were you always on the move, or did you go to a base and stay there?
We go to where they have a camp. They have a camp organized. You have a lot of tents and what you call dog tents and squat tents that are bigger tents. But I don't remember the name of that camp. I don't remember where it was located. I was completely lost. Completely lost. I don't know where I was.
In that camp, is that where you stayed every night and then went out on different missions?
No, we have to other camps. We go to other camps.
Oh.
They have different kind of camps that they mount the camp right here today, and you put everything together, and 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, you have to remove that. Let's go. Yeah.
Oh, so you were constantly on the move.
On the move, yes. Yeah.
And Joe, what was your job? I know you said that you were in communication. So what exactly did you have to do? Okay,
when I went down to Korea, I was assigned right to an infantry unit of the 65th Infantry Regiment. That was, like I told you, Company F, and that was in the third battalion, I think it was. The thing is that I have my rifle. They gave me bullets, they gave me grenades, and then gave me everything. You have the campaign uniform, what you call the fatigue, the uniform too, and then you have like Pancho Villa, you have
the bandolier,
the bundle of bullets, one here and the other one here, and then you have on the openings of the pockets, you have grenades in there. One. You have to know how to use those grenades, because you remove the safety pin, boom, goodbye. Okay? Then you have to be very careful, but those things they teach you on the training. How to use a grenade, how to activate a grenade, and all those things. You know that already when you go to the combat. That was good. Well, I say, they are giving me authorization to kill. So I have to take care of myself. I have the rifle. It's a big rifle, M1 caliber 30. And I say, well, everybody's afraid. Everybody is afraid, but you have the means to take care of yourself too. You take care of the people, you take care of your fellow soldier, but you take care of yourself. They say, I have to go back. And, you know, when you assume that kind of thinking, you feel a little bit more safe, more sure that you can do it. You can make it. You have to make it, and you can make it. Okay, so there was a sergeant that was a regular army, you know, a man with a lot of experience, and we get together very well, but I don't remember his name. So he told me, and he told me what to do. He said, you go to the mortar platoon, and then you are going to be far from the front line. You are going to shoot overhead fire. And I tried to do that. But one American warrant officer came to the company looking for people with experience in communications. And I have a little bit experience on that. And you know, when he came down to ask for people that know something about communications, everybody jumped over him. 200 men over him. Everybody knows communications. I wait until he finished with everybody. When he was about to leave, I just jumped there and told him, I have a little bit using a mic, a little bit experience using a mic in my civilian life.
And what experience did you have from back home?
Well, I was working in a radio station down there in Mayagüez, where the college was. You know, between time and time, I go down there. I met a lot of guys that used to work on the radio stations on those days. Okay, that you are a star when you talk through a mic, and I was good on that. Okay, so I told him that. And the only one from that company that went to communication was me. The 200 that jumped over him, everybody have to stay. Yeah, everybody have to stay. I remember that was a very good experience.
Wow, did they give you more training on communication?
Absolutely. We have to learn the Morse code. We have to learn how to distinguish a signal that comes to you in Morse code than a bunch of them, because those days the radio was very bad. You know, you have a lot of interference. That's not. You have to learn how to distinguish the signal that comes to you, that message that comes to you, that concerns you, okay, and not the rest of the world, because the enemy interfered too. They interfere. They have a lot of interference.
So you had to learn to operate that radio. Do you remember the name of that radio? What kind of radio you used at that time?
That was on those days. Let me see. That was an ANGER 9, something like that. That was an AM radio that is a two ways. You know, transmitter and receiver. And we used the 300 radio, that was the one that you carried, that was an FM radio on those days, FM radio, transmitter and receiver too. That's the one that they install in the Jeeps, and you have to carry on your back.
Was your job to carry the radio on your back?
Absolutely. And the battery was bigger than the radio.
So how many pounds was that you had to carry?
Oh my God. I feel them in my back right now. Yeah. I feel them those years. Yeah, it was a very heavy pack. You have to carry your backpack too, and then you have to carry your how you call that, the sleeping bag. You know, you have to carry that, because you start here and you don't know where you are going to end. You had to carry all your things with you when you go. The rifle, that was the M1, was very heavy. The bullets, the grenades, the radio, the battery, all those things you have to, only one person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the way it was, and I had that experience down there. And then was not you are not walking in a plain surface. You have to go up the hill, down the hill, again up the hill, and down the hill. Okay.
Were you in communication, a radio operator for your entire time in Korea?
Most of it. Then I was in charge of the team. Yeah. Because I took my job seriously, very seriously, and I have a group of great Puerto Ricans surrounding me that they were very responsible on the job, and they were able to do whatever it takes to complete the mission. Yeah.
So can you tell me kind of the order of your missions and which battles you were in and the campaigns from when you first got there?
The battles, I don't remember the battles, I remember a few things down there, bad experiences. But our job was to provide the officers, the high-ranking officers that have the job of thinking and plan, to provide them with good communication. Sometimes we have to go inside the enemy lines to put a line down there, because the communication team was the part was on those days was radio, wire, and message center. The wire was the telephone. You have to have the manigueta. Mm-hmm. So that the other telephones ring. We have a special center station where all the phones were connected, like before. I believe you remember those days. But there you have to disassemble that and assemble in the other way, and sometimes to assemble it now, and then you have to disconnect everything and go and connect it in the other place you go. Those things were like that. Was not really easy. But if you take your job seriously, because everything depends upon communications. Even in the regimental headquarters and division headquarters, we had a regiment, and we had every battalion, first battalion, second battalion, third battalion. Every battalion have a headquarters company where they have the officers that rules those battalions. But the regiment, they have a regimental headquarters company up there that the big shots were located there. They were the ones that think. We are not there to think. We are there to comply what they think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was your commanding officer?
Huh?
Who was your commanding officer?
We have a few. I remember Colonel Harris, that was the regimental commander for a while.
And that's the one you told me you carried the radio for him?
I have the privilege of being his radio operator. And what satisfied me a lot is that he likes the work I was doing. Yeah, he was happy. Sometimes he was a little bit tough. Military are tough. They are all tough. That's the way it is in the army. They have to be like that. So, boy, I was in a few occasions, I was Colonel Harris' radio operator because he asked for me. He wants me to be his radio operator because I try to do the best I can, and he knows that. Yeah.
I know that I know a couple places you went. One was Mount Kelly. You were at Mount Kelly. Can you tell me what went on at Mount Kelly?
Well, that was one of the toughest fights in the Korean War. It was very tough. We are fighting against a very, how can I say this? A lot of people, when you have too much people against you, So we are fighting against Mongolians and Chinese and North Korean, this and that and that. And they have, for example, in Mount Kelly and in other mountains down there that we have to take and then forget about it. They have a little hole in the top of the mountain, a little hole like that, a tunnel inside the mountain that takes them out of the mountain. And in that little hole on the top of the mountain, they have a machine gun. Okay, we have to go up, and they were already up, and they start firing from there down, and they kill a lot of people, and they wounded a lot of people because and this is a disadvantage to the soldier to walk up, and then you have the fire coming from the top, you know. And we have that experience down there. If you kill the guy that is on the machine gun that time, the one that is operating the machine gun, they have one behind him. They kick the body out of there, and the other one take the machine gun. They always have a person ready to operate the weapon. And that was a bad experience down there. I remember that. There was a Puerto Rican soldier, his name was Vadel. That all I remember is Vadel. That was his last name. And he was very brave guy. And he got an idea that was very, very, very good to take care of that condition, of the guy with the machine gun. So he told the sergeant, give me a fire thrower, one of, how you call that?
A flamethrower?
A flamethrower. Give me one. I'm going to go around the back of the hole where the guy is with the machine gun, and then he go to the top of that guy, in the top of the mountain, put the flamethrower right on and then that's it. The problem was solved.
Did he do that?
He did that. That was Patel. I remember him. I don't know if he is alive or he's not alive yet, but we were very young those days. Yeah, but he did that, and I remember that's something I cannot forget. I was an eyewitness news. I was an eyewitness of that, yeah. He was a hero, a great hero. He saved a lot of life. Badel, what his name, I don't remember.
Was that his first name or his last name?
That was the last name, yeah.
You were also at the retreat you had told me about earlier at Chorwan. What was that? What did that entail?
That the retreat. That was that was very dangerous. Our life was very, very, very in danger in that retreat. They come just, and then the 65th Infantry cover close to Chorwan. In those days, the Marine was like correlated, was like pushed in a corner. Let's say it like that, in a corner, and they cannot come out. So the guys from the 65th, they how you say, they try to detain the enemy, or to keep them away from the advance, and then the Marines can go. Yeah, that
and
was.
Your unit was involved in that?
Not directly. I was part of the communication team that they need to do all things. Yeah. And the Marines were connected to us too, so they understand that you can go out now, but fast.
So
fast.
The Marines worked with the Army?
The
Marines worked with the Army?
They always do. The Marines have all the tough jobs. Yeah. They have a special training. Yeah.
Joe, can you describe to me what a typical day would be like for you in the field? Like, what time would you get up? What would you do? Where would you go? When would your day be over?
Sometimes you have a break. Part of the people are there dealing with the enemy. Some of us are on the back trying to do other things. You have time to clean your rifle. You have time to clean, to take care of yourself a little bit. That's not very often. But it's not all the time boom, boom, boom. No, sometimes you have a break. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me ask you some questions.
You can even socialize.
That's what, let me ask you about your daily life and socializing. When you were in camp and you were not in combat, mm-hmm. What did you do for entertainment, for recreation?
But then we have I do remember Bob Hope.
Did you see Bob Hope?
Oh yeah, he went out there. Yeah, especially in Christmas time. And you remember which one is the other one? I don't remember the name of the other girl. Oh my God, she was very good and very nice.
But was it a USO show?
I don't met them personally, but I watched them in the show. You know, yeah. Bob Hope is very good.
Where was it? Did you have to go to a different place to see that show?
Nah, they have a special place where the details I don't remember. Yeah. You are talking 62, 63 years ago. The details I don't remember. But I know I was there, I saw him, and that put the morale of the troop very high. Yeah, very high. Yeah.
How did you stay in touch with your family back in Puerto Rico while you were overseas?
Just once in a while we write a letter. You don't have any computers, you don't have any internet, you don't have any Facebook, you don't have nothing. The only thing you can have is a letter. When you got a break, you sit down under a lantern, and write a little letter to my mother. And I have her in a special plan of the army to, instead of paying me my salary, they send it to my mother. Mm-hmm. That's why I can buy a new car when I came back.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the food like?
Huh?
What was the food like?
The food?
What did you eat?
That is a good question. We used to have rations. When we are in combat, we have rations that they throw in parachute from the planes in the place where we are. Sometimes those parachute, the winds take them away from us and the enemy take the food. Okay, so we don't have anything. But those are C7 rations that comes in a box. You have there different kind of things. You have a dessert. You have to eat. I don't remember that. How you call that? There is different kind of food. What's American food? What's the way you eat? Okay, here, now, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they sometimes send. That was cold. We have to eat it cold unless we have the time to warm it up. But this was like hash. How you say that? How?
Corned beef hash.
Corned beef hash. Maybe a few cookies or crackers, and some juice, like orange juice or maybe grapefruit or whatever, and those kind of things goes on the box. Very nice. The boxes were well wrapped, and they send packages of those boxes down to the troops from the planes, especially when the things were not very good down there.
Did you ever get a hot meal like at a dining hall?
See, if you are resting in a camp, in one of the permanent camps that they have down there, because the army have permanent camps, doesn't matter how bad is the battle or whatever, or what the enemy is doing, and they have permanent camps where you can take a break. So there you can eat warm food. Food cooked right there in the kitchens. they have special kitchens. You know, the squat tents that are the big tents, they have kitchens down there. I have one squat tent when I take over with the communication team. And then there we have all the equipment we need, wires and whatever things we need, the phone, the phone board to connect the different kind of phones, etc., etc., etc. The big tent.
Did you always have enough supplies to do your job? Were there ever shortages of wire or connections or anything?
Sometimes you have problems, but the idea was that you have to learn how to solve the problems. Okay? Doesn't matter the condition, you have to learn how to solve the problem and how to help the rest of the people. That depends upon you, you know, to go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Where did you sleep most of the time?
Well, sometimes you have to sleep out there on the field, where in the wild. In the wild, you sleep down there. If you go, for example, in a group, in a team that have a special mission, you have maybe they send 6, 7, 8 men to do that. Communications is part of that team. Then always we have a few people on guard. The others sleep, and then they have people on guard with the eyes and ears wide open, and then you relieve them, they go to sleep, and you stay on guard, something like that. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. You always have to get the eyes open, always.
When you were sleeping in the field, did you just sleep on the ground, or did you have a tent?
Well, you have the sleeping bag. So you have to sleep in bag. You go in here, right silently, you put the zipper up, and you keep your nose out of the bag, and then if you can sleep, sometimes you don't. I have tinnitus right now because of the artillery. Sometimes you have to camp beside the cannons, and they are firing the whole night long. Boom, 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 boom. And you are talking about 5, 6, 7, 8 cannons. You know. And you have to sleep whatever you have the chance. They give you a chance to rest. You have to take care of that. You go ahead and rest, because if not, you have to continue without sleeping, and your life is in danger. Mm-hmm.
Joe, how did you handle the stress of the job? Being in combat, being out in terrible weather?
It's a matter of get used to it and be adjusted. You have to adjust yourself and say, I have to do it. I have to do it the best I can. I have to tolerate this. I have to learn how to tolerate this. I have to adapt myself. If you don't, bad for you. Okay, the soldiers have to adapt themselves to those things. Doesn't matter, they are not used to. And that's the thing that you have to deal with yourself. Okay, it's like when you say my life is in danger. We have, for example, a hole here. That's a foxhole, and then the overhead fire of the enemy was very, very effective. They have forward observers, very, very professional. And when they say fire for effect, that means that the first bullet they send hit the area where they want that bullet to hit. And once they start, they see the bullet that hit there, that was a guide bullet, something like that, then they tell the gunner that he's back with the mortars, fire for effect, and they start sending fire right in that same place. And they are very good. Once we have the experience that we have a hole for maybe 5 people, and we were 15 inside the hole. 15 just arriving to Korea, and then the bullet boom, 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 boom. And in that moment, you raise your eyes and pray to see that you ask, I want a bullet to come right in here to that hole because that was an agony. It's an agony. You have that. You never know when that bullet is going to come in here, in there, and if the bullet come in there, goodbye, Charlie. That's it. That's the end. You know. But you have to adapt to all those things. That's your problem. That's it. That's your problem. They don't train you for that. They try to give you a little bit, but the rest depends upon you. Yeah.
Did you do anything special for good luck?
For what?
Good luck.
For good luck? Just I pray because I'm a Christian. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
While you were in Korea, did you have any chance to go on leave, to leave?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Where did you go?
We have, that was like 8 or 9 months after we start dealing with the enemy. That gave us what they call R&R, that is resting and recuperation. So we went resting and recuperation to Japan. The name of the town, I don't remember, we went to Tokyo, but we have 5 days to enjoy ourselves. Because the combat is the end of the life. You never know if you are going to go back. So we have money and we have fun. They send groups of certain amount of soldiers at the time, and then we go to Japan. And when only 5 days, at the end of those 5 days, you come back to the inferno.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe, were you always with a totally 100% Puerto Rican unit? Did they ever combine your unit with others?
No, I was in the Puerto Rican unit all the time.
So when you would go on R&R, was it other men from your unit?
A few of them. Like we were around 5 or 6 that we went together. We were good friends, and we went together to Japan to have fun down there. Yeah.
Did you stay friends with any of these guys after the war?
We have communication very, very, not very often. Very limited communication. Everybody goes to their town, everybody goes to the family, we separated. So now they put a lot of pictures of those people in Facebook, and you check the pictures. When we went to Washington for the gold medal, Congressional Gold Medal, there were a few guys from Puerto Rico down there. Not too many, but I did not know any one of them. And they put pictures of people that have the training in Puerto Rico, the same training I have, Tortuguero, Buchanan, and the camp in Salinas, and all those things, but I don't remember them. Remember, we were 21, 22 years old, and years went by, and people change. And that's what I imagine. Maybe I know this guy, but the years changed him. That's what happened. Mm-hmm.
What did you think of your officers?
I don't have any problem with them. They have to do their job, and they do it. And you have to be, you have to follow orders, and they know how to deal. Yeah. They know how to deal. They know their jobs very well. I did not have any problem with any high-ranking officer in my life, no. I do what they tell me to do.
What was your opinion of your fellow servicemen?
My what?
Your fellow soldiers.
My fellow soldiers, well, some of them, they're, everybody's different. Everybody's different, completely different. Some they are acting in a different kind of form. Maybe I don't like some of them because the way they act, they are supposed to do things. I try to tell them the right way to go. Follow orders and do what you are told so that you can go back home with satisfaction. If not, you are going to have problems. But some people don't understand that. Okay? So, but they did. They 65th Infantry Regiment was good. You have a lot of experienced soldiers down there from the Second World War that they know exactly how to deal with the problems of the army. They know. So I learn from those people too. Okay? I like to deal with the veterans, the people that are really military. And those things serve. Those things are helpful. I am here. No bullet touched me. I came in one piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
Oh, yes. Casualties, yes. I saw people coming down the hill with with the front part of their bodies open, with the interior things, the organs inside your body out, and they are trying to keep them, and they come down in a stretcher to the hospital. I know a guy that was with me in college. He was in high school. We were in high school together from my hometown, and he was a very good-looking guy. He came with a face completely, destroyed. It was a monster, a grenade, a mortar fragment. I know people that came with all the legs are gone. Sometimes the one arm, like that. I saw them with my own eyes. I was supposed to be afraid because that can happen to me too. But I say, well, I am here. I'm here. I cannot say I want to go home because they are not going to send me home. So, I pray for these guys that they can make it in the hospital. They take good care of them. There was not that they are going to let them die there, just like that, no. The army take good care of those guys that were wounded. They have special treatment. And that's good, I never had that experience. Only a fragment of a mortar bullet touched me. A fragment touched me in my rain cap that I have on the back I have it on the back of the belt that you have. So you folded the rain cap and put it there. That's the way it goes. That's the uniform, part of the uniform. And that fragment hit the rain cap. But
the rain cap? Are you sorry, the poncho?
The poncho,
and
yes.
That's what saved you?
That what saved me, yeah. It breaks it, but was folded in several layers, and then it did not touch my skin.
Wow.
And I said my prayers and my mother prayers down there in Puerto Rico. Yeah. Well, that was the only experience I have. Even killing anybody, I did not kill anybody. I just shoot one North Korean once, but I did not kill him. I think I shoot him in the leg. And we have to take him to the hospital. But that was all I did down there. I did not kill anybody. I was not wounded, but the job was nice because I have to keep the communication goals in the unit I work for. Mm-hmm. That's all I remember.
Mm-hmm. Joe, were you awarded any medals or citations?
Yes, I know, but I had the Korean War medal and the marksmanship, trained to use a weapon. And a grenade, those things. Medals, I have like 4 or 5, but I don't remember the names. No. They are in the 214 form, They.
So we'll look on your DD 214.
DD 214, yeah, they are there. But there are not too many. I was not a hero. No, I was just doing a job.
Mm-hmm. How long were you in Korea?
Almost 9 or 10 months.
Do you recall what month and year you left?
I was back on 1952.
1952.
Yeah, the war was over in 1953. I think by the end of 1952 or the beginning of 1953.
When you came back?
When I came, was not winter time. It was not snowing. Was not the temperature was very nice. That's what I believe. I believe was more or less by April, maybe March of the 1953, and or maybe that was 1953 definitively. 1953, because we went to go, we arrived in Korea back on 1951. At the end was winter. The most of the winter was starting down there. The snow, there's snow very much. It's colder than here. Yeah, it's much colder than here. Yeah.
Do you recall your last day in Korea?
No. Well, yeah. I was in communications. We have control of all the calls that come from the different units of the regimental area. So we receive a call from regimental headquarters with giving the guy that was the operator a list of the persons that are going to come back. The person that, the list was naming the persons that was going to be released in a few days. So my name was there. That was what I recall. I was so happy. That night we celebrate. We celebrate, like Puerto Ricans celebrate. But we have no rum down there. We have sake. Yeah. But what was so interesting, I was so excited when I heard my name down there. I'm going back home. Oh, God bless you.
Wow. When you left Korea, did you go right to Puerto Rico or did you come to the United States?
No, we have to come to the United States.
Where did you land?
That was some people have the money to take a plane, but I did not take a plane. I take the ship. I don't have the money to take. Remember, I sent the money to my mother.
So you took a ship from Korea.
The ship. We take a small ship from Korea to Japan, and then in Japan we took the big ship, and the big ship take us back. The stops of the big ship when he came back, I don't remember, but I know that the ship went right to Puerto Rico.
Oh, so the ship then did go right to Puerto Rico?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. I make a mistake here. No, the ship went right to New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey.
No, they stopped in New Jersey. The ship stopped in New Jersey. And then we get out of the ship and we socialize in New Jersey, blah, 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 and enjoy the civilian life in New Jersey. And then we took another ship in New Jersey, the port of, and then we go right to Puerto Rico.
Were you discharged from the Army right there in New Jersey?
No. I discharged
in the Army?
I discharged from the Army in Puerto Rico. When I came from Korea, I was assigned to Armed Forces Radio Service in Isla Grande in Puerto Rico. They have a studio down there. I remember Sergeant Tinseth, very nice person, an old soldier, and he was the director of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Everything was in English, but I was working on the record library.
How long did you serve in the...
Until I retired, until I was dismissed. That was around maybe a few months. I was about to make a career in the Army. I decided to continue. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue in the Army because we have a lot of opportunities in the Army. But I have a problem with a sergeant down there that I was going to relieve that guy. He was going to be assigned to Korea. And he did not understand that was not my decision. was the army decision, but he said that I was the one that was going to relieve him. He believed that was my fault, that he is going to Korea and I was going to continue doing the job he was doing in Armed Forces Radio Service, you know. So he gave me a hard time. And I said, I don't want problems. I want to go home. I have plenty problems in Korea, so I don't want problems here. So that's what I decided to get. I want to be dismissed. I'm going to leave there.
So once you left the Army, what did you do for a career? Did you go back to school?
No, I did not. I did not. I want to live my life. I don't want school. I don't want anything. I just find a job in a radio station, and I continue doing that. Mm-hmm.
And you moved up to Connecticut and continued doing that in Connecticut?
When I moved back to no, I did not move to Connecticut. I moved to New York.
So you moved to New York.
So things in Puerto Rico, you know, in radio, you don't go too far. Okay, you have to look for certain opportunities because you are growing old. And then you said, what I'm going to do when the time to retire comes. So I said, I'm going to go to New York because, you know, you have more opportunities here than in Puerto Rico, especially when you don't finish your studies. Okay, you are not a professional. You are doing a job that you know very well, but you don't have what we call in Spanish el cuero de chivo. And el cuero de chivo is the diploma, okay, from an institution, a real recognized institution like this one here, okay. So I came to New York. My English was not that bad, but was not that good either. So I started adapting myself to New York because it's the first time I was in New York. It's a big city. Okay, so I started working on a radio station down there, and that radio station paid me very. The money is not that good. Okay, but I have a job. I have a job. You have to start in a low level and go, you know, going upstairs little by little. So then I took a civil service test from the state of New York in English, and I passed it. Okay, so one of my recent jobs in New York was in the court. They have a place down there close to Brooklyn that they named the Civic Center in New York. So the court is located right there, and I was working in the machines that cancel the parking tickets of the people. And that was a job I liked very much. And I stayed there working for the state of New York, not for the city of New York, for the state of New York. And I was doing good. But then I don't like New York. New York life is so fast and people are, I don't know how to describe the people. They look at you and they say, what this guy is going to do to me? You know, they are in the defensive. So I find a person I know here. I know him in New York. He owns a radio station here in Connecticut. And I came down to Connecticut. That was back on 1971. And since then, I'm living here and make my life here. I used to work for the city of Hartford as a city inspector. I work 18 years for the city. I have a pension. I have Social Security, and I am not that bad, you know. My wife and myself, she worked 35 years. She worked 35 years for a legal office, neighborhood legal service, and then legal aid. And now she have a pension. She have Social Security. We are both retired, you know, and living the life as well and good as we can.
Did you join any military organizations after you got out of the war?
I was on the active reserve for 5 years.
Wow.
After I was licensed from the army. Mm-hmm. Active reserve, but I was lucky enough that they don't need me. They never call me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you join any groups like the VFW or American Legion?
Not really. No, they invite me a lot. They invite me, but I say I'm gonna think about it. But you know, I was dedicated to my family. We have a daughter, my wife and myself, and I dedicate myself to grow her. You know, to help her. She studied here in Central Connecticut State University. She was one of the students here. And
Your daughter works here?
My daughter, yeah. Not in this building, at the other side. Yeah. Yeah. This is a big university. It's real huge. Mm-hmm.
Now I know that, did you realize at the time that you were a part of the famous Burinkaneers, did you realize that you were in a very historic unit? Or did you just consider yourself another soldier doing his job?
You're talking about the Puerto Rican in the war? No, everyone thinks that everyone was doing a job, and they have to comply with it, and that was the center of the success that the regiment have down there in Korea. They said, we have to do it. We are going to do it. Okay, we were segregated. Remember that. We were segregated. There is a lot of, how do you call that? Discrimination. Because we are Spanish speaking. The black people in one side, the white people in another side, and the Puerto Ricans, Latin people in. But we said we are going to show them that we can do it as good, as well as they do it. And that's what we do. The Puerto Ricans are they like the risk, and they want to do things, and they want to show what they can do, and they do it. And they do it. They don't care if their life is involved in that, and they are going to lose it and lose the other. They go. That's what they are like that, you know. And those people from Asia, from the Korea, the Oriental people, and they know we are like that, you know, as good as the Marines. Okay.
And you were discriminated against back then, and I know that recently you went down to Washington because the Burinkaneers were finally recognized for their service.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
Well, that was is one time in the whole life, you know, it's one time opportunity that you have to deal with the dealers, with the leaders of this country. The President of the United States is the most powerful person in the world. So I have the opportunity to be there, and the guys that came with me, we went down there to represent the regiment. Nobody else from the state, because the regiment is, one people is there, and others were down there. A lot of them passed away, and you know what? We were representing the 65th Infantry Regiment, and some of Florida and Puerto Rico joined us in Washington, and I had the opportunity to meet them. Good guys, I love them very much. And we went down there. I brought you a picture there when the presidents signed the project and converted it into law. That's it. So we were there, and just a few.
What year was that?
That was that was in 2012. That was last year.
14?
Let me see, 13. 13 or 14,
and
something.
You were there for the purpose of representing the 65th Infantry to receive the American Gold Medal?
No, we were representing the regiment. In that moment, we are not going to receive anything, just to see the president sign the project. because the project was approved by the Congress, and converting law that the president had to sign it, and he was there signing it.
Did you speak with the president?
Oh yeah, I shake hands with him, and we have a little interchange of words. Yeah. He said, "Thank you for your service." I told him it was an honor, Mr. President, to serve the country, and those things like that, you know.
How did that feel so many years later to finally be recognized?
I think that they take too long. They take too long. Yeah. We don't even expect that, but they take too long. Most of the Borinqueniers that were there in Korea, most that were there in the Second World War, they are not going to see the, unless they are living there with the Lord. Okay? But a lot of them that risk their life, that everybody did down there, they are not going to have the privilege of going to Washington and know that the regiment, the whole regiment, was recognized by the United States of America. They are not going to know that. But I don't even know if we are going to have the opportunity to see when they give us the privilege of the medal, because maybe it's going to be in March or April next year.
Oh, so you haven't even received the actual medal yet. That was just writing the law that created it.
The thing of the medal is a medal for the whole regiment.
Yeah.
It's not individuals' medals. Okay, they are going to give the regiment the medal, and the medal is going to stay in the Smithsonian Institute. The medal is going to stay there. If they need it in Puerto Rico, for example, for a special occasion, they are going to give it to them. Not give it, they have to turn it back. Yeah. Or any group that needs the medal to show it, to exhibit it, they want to see it, or whatever, the Smithsonian is going to participate in that thing, and they are going to send the medal down there. But what we are going to receive is a copy of the medal. It's a bronze copy of the medal, okay, that the 65th Infantry members are going to get free. But other people that want copies of the medal, they have to buy it. Yeah.
How would you say that your military experience influenced your life?
What do you mean?
What effect did your being in the Army have on your life?
The Army teaches you a lot of things. Yeah, the Army teaches you to be an individual, to be a good citizen. The Army teaches you, that's depend upon how you take it. You know, I took it in the positive way. Some people take it in a negative way. But anyway, doesn't matter how you look at it, it's a privilege to serve the country. We are Puerto Ricans. We are not Americans from the mainland. But we are American citizens. Since our born, we born Americans. Okay, doesn't matter we speak Spanish. And we are there. We have the privilege here when you live in this country to vote for the president and to vote for the people that are going to run the destiny of all the citizens. When you cross the sea and go out of the United States, the mainland, to Puerto Rico, you are going to lose that privilege. You cannot vote from the president down there. And we have a commissioner here from Puerto Rico representing Puerto Rico in the Congress of the United States that have voice, he can talk, but he cannot vote, you know. But that's the difference. And but you learn, you said, okay, we have a lot of privileges being American citizens that other people doesn't have. And we appreciate that. Because the Army teach us how to love this country. And that's what we do. I am American, and I'm proud to be. I'm proud to be. Because I can speak English. Maybe I forget, because I think in Spanish, and I have to translate. And that's the problem. I continue thinking in Spanish. Now you ask me questions, I know the answer, but the answer in Spanish on my mind, then I have to translate. And that's the problem. The person that born here, he think in English. My daughter, for example, she born here and she think in English. And I think he's right now her job is a translator. He works for a legal office, and she is a translator. All the documents from the people that come from South and Central America, those documents comes in Spanish. Those are legal documents that goes to court, and that have to be translated perfectly. And that's what happened. I continue thinking Spanish. But the thing is that I love this country, and I like to be here. And doesn't matter I have to do. If I have to go back, I go back. Doesn't matter I have to move. Yeah.
Joe, is there any other memorable experiences or anything that we haven't covered yet in this interview that you'd like to talk about?
I think that we cover a lot. I think that we are all done. Yeah. As far as I know, I don't know what you have in mind.
Thank you for your service and thank you for sharing your story.
I am going to tell you the same thing I told to President Obama. It was a privilege to serve my country.